Hi, I've got Jeff Clark with me again, and we're going to have a little discussion on what's going on. How are you doing, Jeff?
I'm doing great today, Mike, and glad to be back with you again. So, we're going to jump into some interesting things today that are still going on in our favorite markets, huh? This first article is from, well, it's on Zero Hedge, but it's from the US Mint saying that it can't meet surging demand for silver and gold, by the way. Now, January is usually one of the strongest months for demand for gold and silver bullion coins from the mint and many other mints because that's the month that the new year comes out. The new coins year is produced and released and available to purchase. So demand is usually high in January. So the mint, geared up for higher demand in January, and yet they still can't meet the surge in demand for silver and gold coins. So what do you make of that development, Mike?
Well, it shows how rigged the market is as far as the paper price falling and physical supply is vanishing. Yet the price is going, it doesn't make any sense at all that supplies would dry up the way that they have. It's getting very difficult to source silver anywhere. And yet there's the price is going down today. None of it makes any sense. But I think that it's amazing that we've got these shortages going on and the price is where it's at. But what this means is that one day it's just going to absolutely scream higher. We just don't know what that day is.
Yes, as you and I talk, gold's basically flat, silver's up 0.6%. The article says sales of U.S. gold bullion coins rose 258% in 2020, while silver coin demand was up 28%. So the surge has been very significant for physical metal, and that's as of the end of January.
Yeah, there is a tremendous demand right now and not enough supply to meet that demand unless you're buying paper. If you're buying
Right.
silver IOUs, you can get them cheap.
We're on to a tweet of the day, and this is from our friend Mike, David Morgan. He's responding to a tweet from Bob Coleman, who lists the amount of shares that SLV holds, and they continue to rise throughout the month. But yesterday, February 2nd, Tuesday, the shares jumped up to 729.1 million shares, and that is, according to him, a new all-time one-day record in the amount of increase for shares in SLV. And David Morgan responds to that saying, Bob, this is epic. People have no idea what is really going on. But if this trend continues, those that sold what they don't have will soon get a lesson. What do you think of that, Mike?
I think he's absolutely right. I think that it's very interesting that SLV and all of the transparent silver holdings, Nick Laird of Gold Charts R Us does a great job on keeping everybody up to date with the latest. He has huge databases and he's updating these things constantly. And the amount of silver when he says transparent silver holdings, this is the commodities exchanges and all of the different funds and so on that do reporting. And where this silver is coming from, I don't know. I mean, that's the thing is, these funds, to me, they're highly suspect. The things like SLV, I just don't trust them when you see that nobody can source any silver right now, yet there's these millions and millions and millions of ounces flowing into these funds. Where is it coming from? Physical silver, you have to dig up and you have to process. There's a long period of time between discovery, production, and then even when you're in production, from the time you dig up the dirt to the time you've actually got a bar on the commodities exchange is quite a while. And so where all this silver is coming from, I do not know. This is a mystery. And it makes me just not trust the system. That's the reason that I hold physical.
Right. That's the point. If you don't trust the system, or if you have just even doubts about the system, hold physical. That's the answer. At least it is for us. So, okay, now it's time for chart of the day, and this is an interesting one, Mike. We've talked a lot about how overvalued the stock market is, but this chart shows that insiders have rarely been as bearish as they are now. And what this chart is showing is the proportion of firms for which net insider buying is positive. In other words, if they're buying, if insiders are buying, the line on this chart would go up. If they're selling, if they're bearish, the line is going to go down. And look where the line has gone. It's now more than 2 standard deviations below the average. So, Mike, a lot of insiders are very bearish on the stock market. So, what do you make of that?
Well, I wish this chart went back further, because at one of my first speaking engagements back in 2005, I basically presented this chart and what it was showing in August of 2005. So this was while the real estate bubble was in full swing, and it went for another year, but then we had the global financial crisis of 2008. So this is like an early alarm bell is what it is. This is telling us that something bad is going to happen. At least the insiders, these are the people that when they're talking about insiders, these are firms, and when they started, they create stock, and so these are the owners of those companies, and they either, there's buys and there's sells, and right now, we're down to only 1 out of 10 insiders buying their own stock. They're selling right now. So insider net buying is would be positive. There's always more sells than buys because they started by issuing stock, so they have a lot of stock. So throughout the years, they sell off a little bits of the stock. So there's more sells than buys normally, but that ratio is something to keep track of. And we're seeing it at a point that it hasn't, it's never been at this point on this chart. If it went back to 2008, you would see that in 2006 and 7, it looked like it does now. So get ready for something. There's something coming at us. There's a crisis.
Right. We know what happened shortly after that big dip in insider selling. So.
Right. And this is happening with interest rates at these historic lows. And when the interest rates are at these historic lows, companies have been borrowing at basically free currency to do buybacks of their own stocks. So this should actually be much, much higher than that. This should be like above 30 if there wasn't something wrong out there. But this shows that there's something wrong.
On to viewer comments, Mike, and I really like this one. This is from Bill Norvell. I'm sorry if I'm mispronouncing your name, Bill. He says, I can't begin to tell you how appreciative I am that you created this series, Mike, and he's referring to your series, Hidden Secrets of Money. I teach high school and assigned the entire series for my students to watch, take notes on, and be ready to do worksheets over. You're going to get a lot of views from that. So, Mike, what's your reaction to Bill's comment on your Hidden Secrets of Money?
I think it's wonderful. Years ago, I was speaking up in Vancouver, Canada. There was a teacher that had flown in from San Diego just to say that he teaches economics in college, and he was using Hidden Secrets of Money for his students in college. And for somebody that I have no degree in economics, it does make me happy and very proud of the work that the team has done on that. Aidan Magnus, Lincoln Jude, and Dan Rubach spent a lot of their lives working on Hidden Secrets of Money. And then, the traveling all over the world to sort of follow the history of money, but doing something different. It isn't just the history of money, it's the history of money and how it applies to your life today. You can draw parallels with Rome and with Athens, with what the U.S. is doing to its economy today. So it's very rewarding to hear things like this. I really do appreciate it. So I want to thank him very much for the comment.
Yes, a lot of people like that series. And if you have not seen it, grab some popcorn and watch it. It's a great, very educational series, highly informative, and it'll really kind of set your mind on, okay, what exactly is currency and what exactly is money and how do those affect my life.
Yeah, you mentioned making a bowl of popcorn. I do think, if you watch episodes 9 and 10, the last 2 episodes in the series, those go together very well on a big screen, and they're all shot in Rome, basically. We went to Italy to shoot that. So a lot of it takes place in the Colosseum and so on.
Yes, very fun.
Yeah.
And for those of you that have not yet read Mike's book, please grab that book and read it. That gives you a perfect overview of where we're at and where we're headed. It's still applicable to right now. In fact, even more applicable, I think you would say, right, Mike?
Yes. Yeah, it's more pertinent today than it was the day it was written. And it's available for free on our website. Just go to goldsilver.com and you can download it. So, get a copy, especially if you're considering investing in precious metals. You should know a little bit about what you're doing first. It's, in there, I think I take apart some of it was either in there or in an article or somewhere, but I know that I've sort of taken apart the prospectus and the 10K filings of SLV and GLD. And these things are what most investors use as their tools to invest in gold and silver. And they are giving you price exposure to the spot price, but you're not buying gold and silver. You're buying shares in a trust that is supposed to be backed by gold and silver. But then, these things are written by armies of attorneys. And when you read it, there's things that either mean the opposite of what you think it means, if you really analyze it, or it means 2 things, or it means nothing at all. It makes me very suspicious when I see the way that they wrote these things.
Yes, not just suspicious, but as soon as you buy a paper product, you introduce counterparty risk. And that's the very thing you're trying to protect against when you own physical. So that's a large reason why Mike and I only own physical. So
yeah.
Mike, as we wrap this video up, I'm going to let you read off our quote of the day.
Okay, this is from one of my favorite economists, and everybody, I just watched a documentary on Thomas Sowell, and he is an economist that really has helped to change the world, and he's more than an economist. I mean, he really comments on, he's such a brilliant thinker, and he thinks processes through. And he says, what is history but the story of how politicians have squandered the blood and treasure of the human race? And it is so true. You take a look at what's happening now, and we're doing life extension. We're about to go to Mars. We're doing some amazing things. We're able to do things like, you cut off a finger and we're going to be able to regrow a finger. We're going to be able to replace organ parts with things that are printed. Where the human race is just doing these amazing things. And these politicians that are these highly competitive people full of testosterone that we keep on electing, these bumbling fools that are out to destroy everything. They steal from us and they get elected by promising the majority of people a bunch of free stuff. And with that free stuff, where's it going to come from? Well, we're going to steal it from other people and we're going to transfer that wealth. So what is history but the story of how politicians have squandered the blood and treasure of the human race? That's the quote. So thank you very much. Thanks, Jeff. And thank you for watching, and we'll see you next time.
Thanks, Mike.